Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome back to Transport Fever. This is episode 19, and in the previous two episodes I have been busy setting up a line, or rather two lines, to this factory. This is the chemical plant in Chennai. Now, we are looking at the culprit right here. There is a bunch of plastic, and it is not being transported, or at least it's not nearly enough being transported. Because what is happening right now is that I'm trying to ship goods to Shenyang, Chennai, Ankara, and potentially also to Kaohsiung. The goods factory is getting steel. It's in fact getting a lot of steel. And because I thought that steel was the problem, I set up a train line that brought coal, or potentially will bring coal, all the way from over here, from this second coal mine. It turns out that coal is not the problem. In fact, I have an abundance of coal at this steel mill, but I'm not shipping enough steel. Why am I not shipping enough steel? Well, it has to do with the plastics. The steel is piling up here, the plastics not so much. So it's time to add a couple more vehicles to, losing orientation here, to the plastics line. I have a couple of cargo trucks, the flatbeds. Or sorry, flatbed. I was supposed to be pronouncing that different apparently. Let's change those to the dump. No, to the tarpaulin all carry, because they carry a bit more or so, I thought. Yeah, these things carry 14, these things carry 17. Replace and double. That has the potential to make this one truck stop really quite busy. So be it. As long as we start shipping these plastics, because right now this is the big bottleneck. And that whole train line that I set up in the previous episode is really not that required. Now, the lines that are involved over here do make quite a bit of cash. The one that's transporting just plastics, just taking plastics from here to there, is already making almost 750,000. We then have two supporting lines. One is the oil line, that's making more than 1 million. And there is a crude line that's making 2.4 million. These are just trucks, guys. These are just trucks. And so far, trucking all this stuff seems to go really well. Now, hopefully, once there is more plastic over here, I will also see more goods being transported. Because so far, let's see where my train is. Here it is. This train has a capacity of 126. Actually, 144 if I'm not mistaken. And it's not transporting nearly enough. Now, Ankara is definitely getting its goods worth. It's requesting 196. This thing is going to dump a whole bunch on this particular cargo dock, which might be overwhelmed. Yes, it's overwhelmed. It's running around with these little Isuzus. And these things can transport just 14. But I'm going to be duplicating these, because I need a lot more of those. If there is an overload on this particular cargo depot, then it's just going to be hard to work with. So hopefully by having double the trucks over here, it's going to be capable of transporting a whole lot more. And with that, fulfilling more of the demand, and as such requesting more from the train, so that the train can then in turn run positive. Let's see, there's already 74 waiting. Now we're getting a lot of plastic. And it seems like the train is not the problem. I'm not really transporting enough. There we go, the factory's upgrading. But now I can also start to think about sending supplies over here to Shenyang. Interestingly, Shenyang is still quite a small place. There's still really not that many people living there. Especially when you compare it to Ankara. This is 1225, and this is only 375. Kaohsiung in the south is 592, and Chennai to the east is 715. So Shenyang, despite being a pretty important hub, is just not growing enough. So hopefully with sending a couple more supplies that way, and potentially some fuel and some food, that can be solved. Right. First things first. Time to set up that truck stop. And let's see, I can just turn that around. There. And I can probably loop that underneath that train bridge that we already have in place. Yep. Alright, do we have any drop-off points? Not yet. Makes sense, because I'm not actually dropping off anything in this town. Let's see, this seems to be mostly the commercial district. This is the industrial area. Let's go with a drop-off point here. Yeah, that covers virtually the entire town. Alright, we're going to take it from here, and we're going to bring it over there. Straightforward. This is the Shenyang goods supply. I do have a tram depot. I do not have a vehicle depot here, but I do have one there. Alright, we're transporting into town, which means that emissions are going to be slightly more important. So let's go with a couple of the flatbeds. They only need 51. These things can transport 14. I'd say 4 should be plenty. I know that's a little overcapacity, but the reason why I'm going with that is that not all of these trucks will arrive at the same time. This was the Shenyang goods supply. Uh-oh, you cannot get there. Yeah, that makes sense. Because there is no entrance here. And now there is. And now I need to do the same thing here. There. Now there should be a way for them to go. They just don't want to go yet. All of you. Shenyang. Good supply. There you go. Now they're going to hit this truck stop. Pass through the truck stop. Circle around. Pick up the goods that are already being delivered here to this truck stop. And then from there to Shenyang. Plastics could still improve quite a bit. Although I'm not complaining. At least we have a surplus over here. That's a good start. There is a lot being delivered to the train station. The train is coming to pick them up. And there you go. Now the train is making me some money. 1.5 million. But this is only the start. Because I am going to be producing so much here that it's going to be fulfilling everything in the rest of the region as well. Now, Shanghai is actually one of those towns that needs a lot of stuff. 128. I want to find out where they need it, but I am kind of afraid to find out that that's in the middle of town. Yeah, that's right here in the middle of town. That's not ideal. But I guess we're just going to have to live with it. Am I using that cargo terminal? No, I'm not. Okay, so I can just tie in this train station with Shanghai and start to transport stuff that way. Terminals that I'm using over here. Terminals 2 and 5 are not being used at the moment, so that's this line here. Now, for this one, I'm just going to go with one line, because one train should be enough to just transport what I need. And I don't need to lay a whole lot of track, because everything just simply ties in. Double slip there. We set up a connection, starting here, and dropping off there. Alright, done. This is Shanghai goods. And then I need to have a cargo stop, which I have. And it's not being used. But with great foresight, I had set this thing up, I think 15 episodes ago. Somewhere in that region. Oh, right, I still need a drop-off point. Here? Would that be enough? Hello, truck stop. Here. Yeah, that should cover most of it. Over here it's mostly industrial, so this should cover most of it. Alright, so that one is going to add this stop. Provided that the autosave doesn't want to kick in. There. And this is now the Shanghai goods supply. Alright, two things needed. One being a train and one being a couple of trucks. Starting with the second. This thing needs a lot. 128. It's a short hop though. Let's go with just 4 trucks. Shanghai goods supply. Here. Alright, and then I might be able to use this depot here to send a train. This case I'm going to go with a diesel because it's not interfering with any of the other tracks. Let's go with a Russian class TE3. And we're transporting goods, so that's a boxcar. Let's go with 126. Shanghai supply goods. Done. Alright, so that train is going to move to this station and then follow the tracks. Follow the tracks, follow the tracks. Hop off to that point, go back. Works. Okay, so that should tie Chennai into everything. Yep. Shenyang's growing. It's getting some goods. Growth 50% there. Or rather, 50% demand is being met. We are getting still a good number of steel. Look at that. It's now up to 3.6 million. And we are losing out on plastic. What do we need to transport more of? I think it might be crude. You're running plastic. Stop. What are you running? Oil, but not enough. I think I need to transport more crude. This one's just coming in, and there is 500 crude sitting there. Yeah, I'm gonna need a lot more of these trucks. Let's just double them up. That might be excessive, but it is with foresight, because I'm expecting this particular place to also be supplying to Kaohsiung in a minute, which is also going to need another 110 goods. The train line is already mostly set up here. I just need to set up the line, and I need to set up the distribution point, because right here I have a stop, but not a truck stop. So ideally, I would try and fit in a truck stop somewhere. In a perfect world, I would do that here. You know what? I can just put this thing down elsewhere, and it's the cheapest to remove. Because then I can put my cargo supply, or my cargo terminal over there. That looks a lit... What are you doing exactly? That was weird. Okay. Oh, I cannot set up another exit point here. The game won't let me. I can do it here, kind of, but not there. Does that have to do with this road? Sorry. No, it does not have to do with the road. Maybe the terminals aren't long enough. There. That's what I wanted. Okay, roads. Simple, medium street. Sorry about your house. Shit happens. And another one here. Sorry about your house. Right. Now, drop-off point. Where's the commercial area? Commercial area is here, in the southern end of town. / western. I think I might need 2 drop-off points. Since they don't really cost me that much. Let's see, if I deploy it here, that covers almost the entire town. That should be enough. Start here. Drop off there. Kaohsiung goods supply. Done. Right, now I need to set up a line that starts... Yeah, where am I going to start that? Oh, here. I have a depot here. Alright, diesel. Class TE3. Cargo. They needed something in the region of 110. Boxcars it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 108. That's a good start point. Alright, that is... Where are you? Kaohsiung goods. And now this thing is really going to get a demand. Because now we have a consumer in the form of Ankara, Chennai, Shenyang, and soon to be joined by Kaohsiung. Here. We're transporting 96 of the capacity. What are we missing out on? Plastic. Alright, now this one is looking like it's a little bit of a bottleneck. Since this oil refinery is now getting a lot more. That means that these trucks that are transporting this part are running a little low. This is now the new bottleneck. And when I transport more oil, I should be getting more plastic. Plastic is still more or less piling up, but it's not that bad. And that should then get me the plastic that I need. The steel is definitely not the problem. That seems to be fine, especially with this train dropping off another haul of 200. Let's see, how much is there waiting at the train station? Almost 300. Right, so that's not the problem. We have still an excessive amount of iron ore, but coal at this point is starting to struggle a little bit. There we go. See, this whole train line that I set up, it was completely unnecessary. Really didn't need that. Waste of time. Yeah, this one. Just cancel the line. Because there is definitely enough coal being supplied over there. It was just my stupidity of not seeing that it was the plastic that was the bottleneck that was causing this to not work out very well. Alright, the amount of oil that we have over here is slowly going down, as there is now a lot more of demands placed by the vehicles which are trying to get it out. There you go. This thing should be operating at lots of capacity, yep. It might upgrade again, if it can. I'm not sure. Maybe. Now, does that mean we have plastic piling up again? Yep, there's plastic piling up. Over here, we do not have enough plastic. These are the ones that are transporting... No, these are the ones that are transporting plastic. Alright, let's add a couple more. Okay, let's see. Shenyang is getting a very good amount of its supply met. 59 out of 79, and the town is growing quickly. Here we go. The town dropped? Hold on. Yeah, I cannot get my cursor on that. I thought it was at about 370 something at some point. That was 1932. Here. 1976. For some reason the shopping facilities fell to 373. And now it's going almost vertical. And we're looking to get to 600. Okay, so Shenyang is getting their supply. How's Shanghai doing? 50 out of 130. It's not bad. This train is not the right train. This is the right train, but it's not getting enough to cover the cost. Are you seriously a steam train here? Shanghai Novosibirsk. Really? That's an honest-to-God steam train. You must be very old. 18 years. You're not that old. What am I doing buying steam trains in 1963? The other train is not making money either, so that means that the whole line's underwater. Yeah, by 1.7. Alright, manage vehicles. This one, goodbye. And this one I'll replace with... no, not going for diesel. Or not going for steam. Diesel? Just a couple of... I can just use these because it doesn't have to be that fast. There. Hopefully that's going to make sure that the line is still profitable. 66 out of 126. The QZ line, though, is getting quite full, but that's not what I'm looking for. I need passengers to go to Novosibirsk, or to go to Shanghai. Here. This is where it might be piling up. The north area of Novosibirsk, the north tram. There's only one of them on there. Let's go with the LM68. More capacity. And add another one. There's 60 people waiting there. Novosibirsk itself is not that big. 448. It does fulfill a pretty important hub function. There's quite a lot of passenger traffic going through here because it connects to Shanghai, it connects to Guangzhou, and it connects to Jeddah. I think I might have a lot of trains which are no longer profitable. Maybe setting up a bus connection between Jeddah and Novosibirsk is easier. Or I need to start overhauling entire lines. What I could do And this has been suggested many times, but I was quite reluctant to do so because it means optimizing lines is more difficult. Is have a line that starts in Surat, goes to Chennai, goes to Novosibirsk, and goes to Guangzhou. And just make it a one big loop. Instead of all these smaller trains. The reason why I haven't done that so far is that Surat is 1100, Chennai is 800, Novosibirsk is 448. There are not going to be that many people who want to go from here to there as there are who want to go from Chennai to Surat. But it potentially would be cheaper. Because I would probably need fewer trains. Let's see, how are my lines doing? Yeah. Calcium Goods is underwater, that's unsurprising. Shenyang Ankara? Really? What? Oh, that's the goods line. Finances were good on this line, and then they collapsed. Potentially because I added one too many trains. Show me that line. That's this line. Ankara to Shenyang. How many people do we have going for Ankara? 55. Other way? 1. So probably a train just departed. Yeah. This one's going to Shenyang. I think I have a couple too many trains here. Look at that. 23 people. I'm sorry, that's a fourth of my capacity. Sell off. Replace this train with, let's go with 105 and add a class TE3. It's going to make it a little slower, but with more capacity, and we're just going to be running fewer services here. Now, speaking of services, I haven't checked in with the, what do you call it again? Yeah, the Shinkansen for a while. And the Shinkansen is actually making a ton of money. 14 million. There is actually not enough capacity on the line. This line has a capacity of 160. There's 81 people waiting there. And there's another 66 on the other side. Now maybe I can optimize this further, because there might be another tram required on the north-south line. And potentially another one on this line, because there's also another 36 here. That was a weird loop that you did there. Hold on. What exactly are you doing? After 6, I want you to go to 5 to 1. Then there's no truck stop on the other side, or a passenger stop on the other side. That's a little smoother. That was a weird turn that I made. Okay, we can pick up everybody. So that does not need another tram. This one might. Because they still want to go to Upper Surat, and they are apparently too lazy to walk. 159,000 for a tram. That's impressive. That's really quite impressive. Alright. The big plan. Do I want to go for a couple of lines which are going from one side of the map to the other, or which are going in circles? It would require quite a bit of overhauling. Would make the train line potentially more complex. But it could also save me a decent amount of money. Because right now I have a lot of trains. And this is just the trains which are running deficits. One is the stone line? Are you serious? Did something crash? Did the demand for stone suddenly go down? Ankara construction materials. This is making money. This one, however, is not. That's curious. It's just about breaking even. But I think there's not enough demand here. Yeah, so if I could put a little bit more demand on here and ship construction materials to Shanghai? No. Shenyang? No. To Beijing? I could ship it to Beijing, but it'd be quite a ride. It was just 42. Alright, what I can do in the meanwhile is just reduce the capacity a little. And save a little bit on the operating cost. Because right now I think it has way too much capacity. 126 is what it can now carry. There's only 55 waiting there. That's not a good sign. Anyway, passenger lines. I keep getting sidetracked. No pun intended. We already have this line going from Ankara to Shenyang to Chennai to Surat. Well, these are all small hops. Could I set up one line that does everything? Because I think right now my rail network is not designed to do that. I could go there. I could even go there. And then I want to go to Ankara. And I can do that as well. Look at that. It's almost like I know what I'm doing. It's not always taking the most efficient paths, but overall it does seem to work. Alright, and then I would want to go back to Shenyang. I would then want to go back to Chennai. Oh, doesn't like that. And then I want to go back to Surat. Alright, let's say that... oh, I have 2 line 1s, yes. What terminals do we have? Because I would want it to go to terminal 1 on the way back. Like that. Then it splits itself up over the 2 terminals. How is it doing here? Because it's not uncommon for that train to use the same terminal. Yep. Here too. Terminals. It's using terminal 2. Whereas it should be using terminal 1. Uh-oh. That's not a possibility because this is not connected. Now it can. And since Ankara is an endpoint, that can work. Oh, hold on. Shenyang. Not connected. Between terminal 1 from Shenyang and Chennai terminal 1. He's probably right. Yep. Can I use another terminal on Shenyang? Can I use terminal 1 on the way back? Let's see. Because right now it tried to take terminal 1. No, it seemingly doesn't know what to do at all. Yeah, Shenyang, that's the problem. That's this travel bit. Needs to be on a different platform. Needs to be on this platform. And then it should, on the way back, take this platform. So on the way to, I want you to take terminal 3. On the way back, I want you to take terminal 1. Which is what it is doing. Oh, the autosave is messing with the line distribution now. Okay, so now it can connect Shenyang to Surat, but it cannot connect Shenyang to Ankara. Because terminal... Ah, yes. That's because I threw in a depot. What should be happening is that this is also going to get connected somehow into everything else. That could prove a little tricky. Let's see, have them side by side. I can double slip there. And I might even be able to do this. So double slip it here. Double slip it there. And that does not need to be a double slip. Alright, are you happy now? Yes. Now it's happier, anyway. Because now I can connect everything. Okay. This is going to be the experiment. But it would require that I sell off a lot of trains, or that I park them in depots, which is really a waste of money, because that means they're just sitting there doing nothing. I'm going to do that in the next episode. Next episode, set up the train lines. So it's this one very long line. Starting in Surat, going to Chennai, going to Shenyang, ending in Ankara, and then back. And then I might do another one from Ankara to Quezon to Jeddah to Novosibirsk to Guangzhou, potentially. Anyway, that is stuff for next episode. For now, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Sorry, that was a random hiccup. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you soon for the next one.